Oh my God. She's so drunk.
Those who don't appreciate life do not deserve life.
Hello, and welcome to Cheers to Fears, where we take horror films and turn them into drinking games. We're your two hosts. I'm Tucker.
And I'm Alex, and today we are going to be continuing on with our Saw Marathon with Saw 3, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, coming back to writing as James Wan and Leigh Whannell.
Saw 3 revolves around two games. In the first game, Jigsaw is on his deathbed and abducts a doctor who then must try to give her all to save Jigsaw. Otherwise, she will die along with him.
The second game revolves around Jeff, a father who recently lost a son in an accident, yearning to get revenge on the man that caused the accident and that led to his son's death. Jeff has to struggle with his last two remaining brain cells going on vacation at the same time at the worst possible time in his life.
From this point on, we're going to be talking about spoilers, considering we're talking about things like how many people die in the movie. So if you have not yet seen the movie, considering using our rules, that will be posted now.
On with the common rules for every horror movie. First, we have whenever somebody dies, you must take a drink. For this rule, we had a total of 10 drinks.
For the second rule, as usual, drink whenever somebody screams, cries, or yells.
Look at me!
For this rule, we drank a total of 28 times.
On to the Saw franchise rules, starting with drinking whenever you spot a Billy doll. For this, we had a nice and even 10 drinks.
Next, we have the rule whenever somebody says game or jigsaw, you have to take a drink. For this rule, we heard game a total of 18 times.
I want to play a game. I want to play a game.
And jigsaw a total of 4 times.
Not jigsaw. Jigsaw.
With that being said, we had a grand total of 22 drinks.
Anytime there is a flashback, you have to take a drink is the next rule we have in place. This rule gave us a total of 12 drinks.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite rule. Drink whenever there is a reveal of a new trap. We counted a total of 7 new traps in this movie, and thus adding 7 more drinks to our total.
We had 8 drinks for our next rule. That rule is you take a drink whenever a tape is played.
Hello, Jeff.
Now, you cannot have a Saw movie without saws. That's why we drank for every saw that we see in the movie Saw. We saw 14 saws in Saw 3.
The last franchise exclusive rule is drink whenever you see jumpy or flashy editing. This occurred 24 times throughout the movie on our count.
This takes us on to the Saw 3 exclusive rules. The first Saw 3 exclusive rule is that you drink whenever test is said.
Test.
Test subject. Test.
Tests.
We gladly drank 15 times to this rule because it reminded us of finals week, where we had to do 5 tests in a week, and we really don't want to be reminded of those times.
For this next rule, you need to take a drink whenever a photo appears on screen. We counted the sum to be 10 drinks for this rule.
The final rule we have makes us frustrated just thinking about it. Whenever Jeff's actions, or at times inactions, resulted in somebody's death, you're obliged to take a drink. For this rule, Jeff caused a total of 6 people to perish throughout the duration of the movie.
With that, we have a new record here at Cheers to Fears. We counted a grand total of 170 drinks, which is equivalent to drinking 6 standard 12-ounce cans. That number is based on a 30 sip per can scale, and each rule had around an average of 13.1 drinks per rule.
So going a little bit more in depth about the drinking of this movie, why do you think we had so much more drinks in this one compared to the last 2 Saws?
I think one reason alone, which is Jeff. I know there was always like the full kind of scale we would go from screaming new trap and all this.
Right.
So the new order goes, Jeff finds a photo, new trap, game is said, flashback from the person related to Jeff's son, screams, flashy editing, death, and death that was Jeff's fault. So it's another 2, which it doesn't feel like a lot, but it is a lot, especially when that just happens so frequently with Jeff. So in Saw 3, we found out how John was able to stay in the bathroom for that long. He took something to inject into his veins, which slowed down his muscles and relaxed his heartbeat.
Just because his heart rate was slowed down and his muscles were more relaxed, that doesn't mean he was not awake. So he would have had to have been awake for that.
Yeah, he was awake for like 8 hours doing nothing.
He just tortured himself. He put himself in a game. So now the part that we're all dreading. Jeff.
I love Jeff.
So do you want to just list off some of the things that Jeff did?
Oh, we'll just go in order.
All right.
So I guess the first experience where we see Jeff is he's just in his son's room, spitting on a mirror, trying to act like a tough guy and all this. I don't know why he's spitting in the mirror because he's going to have to clean it up anyways.
Yeah.
And then he realized one stuffed animal's gone. He goes to his daughter's room, tears it apart. He's like, where is it? And he's like, you can't be stealing things. How dare you mourn your brother's death?
So if him spitting on his mirror and yelling at his daughter isn't bad enough, why don't we talk about the trap where the girl is just becoming an ice block?
Yeah, the freezer room trap.
So first of all, he takes his sweet ass time and he pretty much waits until she's already dead before he releases her.
Yeah, before she's struggling for a little while there, like clearly, completely naked, cold water, frozen room. That might hurt a little bit.
Yep. And not to mention when he actually does release her, he puts his face on the freezing metal, which he could have just prevented by putting his jacket or anything
It's
in
just
between
like,
his
just do
face.
this. Like it doesn't even have to be like cloth. It can be just like a piece of wood or something.
Yeah. Like he could have put anything between his face and the bar and it would have saved him getting that chunk of skin ripped off his face. Basically with that, the end result is the girl is dead, Jeff has a piece of his face missing, and nothing was solved. So I guess now we'll move on to the next trap, which is the pig vat.
Mm-hmm. So with the pig vat, he saved the person. I mean, for now.
Yeah.
So he took such a long period of time to do it.
I guess that's the point that really hits it home for the viewers, that Jeff is just very, very slow.
And that brings us on to the rack. So at this point, we all know that Jeff is the slowest person in the world. By this point, Timothy has all of his limbs twisted and destroyed. And Jeff finally has the courage to say, I forgive you. And that brings us into Jeff's final test. So what has he learned?
Nothing. He kills Amanda, which I guess is the one thing that is kind of justified. Then he goes on to kill John Kramer, despite his wife saying multiple times not to do it, which ultimately led to her death. Mm-hmm. On top of that, his daughter is also now missing, but he might not even realize that, let's be honest.
Yeah, I didn't even think for the majority of the movie that Jeff had a daughter. He probably didn't even know.
Yeah. Based on how he treated her in the beginning.
Yeah.
So in the end, he killed 6 people because one person in his life, his son, died.
Flawless logic there, Jeff. Overall thoughts on the movie?
So, at times the film is a little bit frustrating just because of Jeff. But in saying that, there is a lot of unique traps in this one.
The trade-off for the traps is Jeff.
Yeah. So we got a negative with Jeff, but then we got a positive with the traps.
Oh yeah. I even want to say that this is probably one of my favorite movies for traps, as far as traps go. The traps were good in this one.
Oh yeah.
I liked them.
Speaking of that, this might have my favorite trap, which might be an obscure one, but the classroom trap where Troy has the chains attached to all of his body.
Oh.
The main reason that might be my favorite is specifically the one in his jaw.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about how that would feel, having a ring through your entire jaw. You'd have to rip out the whole bottom part of your mouth.
Yeah, I don't even think he'd live through that. Which leads us to one of my favorite, the angel trap. There's almost something beautiful about the trap, even though it's somebody's ribs just getting like torn apart.
The imagery is kind of cool.
Yeah, I love the imagery for it.
Where the wings kind of just
Yeah, it was
pop out.
like wings. Yeah, it was almost angelic.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my favorites.
Just to go through a few more of the traps, we got the shotgun collar.
Mm-hmm.
That one was alright.
Freezer room trap, super cool. My girlfriend actually is terrified of that when she can't watch it. She cannot watch the freezer trap.
So that leads us to the pig vat, which upon research you learn that that's Tobin Bell's favorite trap.
Yeah, it's really weird to think out of all the ones in the series that was his favorite.
True. I wouldn't expect that just because there isn't a lot to it and the person doesn't even die in it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The person doesn't even die.
And then we got the rack.
Yeah, I think the rack is the unanimous choice for the one saw trap that you wouldn't want to be in.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, every single limb on your body basically being destroyed. Second of all, you have to rely on Jeff.
Yeah. That might arguably be the most iconic saw trap.
Yeah, I'd say besides Reverse Bear Trap, it's definitely a close second, just because of the brutality of it for sure.
So in terms of traps for this movie, would you say that it has the best traps of all of them?
At this point in the series, yes. These are, I would say, the best traps for sure. Probably even throughout the whole franchise, but we will see. We'll see when we continue on our Saw Week here. And finally, we come to the awards ceremony, where we award one not-so-lucky nominee the Darwin Award. This award goes to the character who made a stupid decision that resulted in them getting killed, someone else getting killed, or simply resulting in something bad happening which could have been easily avoided. This award can also be given to a character who is just plain dumb. Here are our nominees.
The first nominee is Jeff Denlon, for not only allowing Danica Scott in the freezer trap room to die a slow and painful death, but taking his sweet-ass time to the point where he finally decided that he would like to save her, ripping up his cheek by putting it against the metal pole instead of putting anything in between his face and the pole.
Our second nominee today is Jeff Denlon, again? For killing the judge by being so oblivious to his own surroundings, by getting the key, but not saying anything to the judge, and not to mention being very slow, which ends up costing Timothy Young his life as well.
Our third Darwin Award nominee is Jeff Denlon.
Okay. What? A third time?
I don't know, man, I'm just reading the script. For being an idiot and spinning on his mirror at the crack of dawn a few rooms down from his daughter, but yet calls his daughter the unreasonable one for wanting to mourn her brother's death. And finally, we couldn't forget about our final nominee.
Let me guess. Jeff Denlon. For despite his wife pleading him not to kill Jigsaw, Jeff kills him anyways, kills his wife as a result, does not get the information to where his daughter's whereabouts are as well.
And the winner is...
Stop. We're not giving him an awards ceremony. The winner is Jeff. Choose any scene, literally any scene he's in the movie, and that's the reason why.
And with all that being said, we hope you enjoyed our look into the third Saw movie. If you end up playing the game alongside the movie at home, let us know in the comments. Also let us know what your favorite trap is in Saw 3. We'd love to hear from you.
Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss Saw 4 coming out tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and this is us saying cheers to fears.